Filipino means to me being resilient. Resilient in all aspects.
I don't think that there was ever a time in my life where I've doubted who I was or where I've doubted being Filipino. I've always been really proud.
I know for myself that I always put myself out there in a good light. I try my best to do that every single day.
We are that type of people who are very friendly. We are very resilient, persistent amidst all the negativity that we experience in life.
I do believe as long as you are good to your parents, good to other people, as long as you believe in God and do what is good, that's all that matters.
Filipinos in general are not a monolith. We are diverse within our own community and we do have our own values. But what I know for a fact in the Filipino community or at Filipinos in general is that we are hardworking and we do have respect and we all do have this level of generosity.
It derives a lot from that. It's instilled a lot of values of resilience or responsibility.
It kind of still feels home. Having a Filipino friend feels home for me.
Montreal is known for welcoming immigrants from different backgrounds and cultures. However, to many Filipino Canadians, it is home away from home.
Tamara Joyce Sangir,
Christina Sangir,
Urgi Marie Evans Sabido,
Josephine Cruz Sangir,
Rick Rose Payan Tapat,
Myra Santos Villamayor,
Charlene Ebio,
Stephanie Valenzuela,
Clarissa May, San Jose Geraldo Estrada.
While Montreal is considered to be a diverse and national land, many Filipino immigrants feel a disconnection because the feeling of home never leaves them. Whether it's the languages, a new set of rules and regulations, the economic status, the struggle to integrate to a new country creates a loss of identity and fear of losing a sense of authenticity.
I'm 26 years old.
I am 28 years old.
I am 28 years old.
I am 60 years old.
and I'm 40 years old.
I'm 46 years old.
I'm 29.
I am 32 years old.
I'm 26.
Philippines is located in South Asia where its people derive from thousands of islands among Visayas, Mindanao, and Luzon. Filipinos immigrate from Ilocos Norte, Ilocos Sur, Manila, Laoag City, and Sinait in order to pursue a better life and opportunities to succeed. Montreal is a city that welcomes different types of people, offering different kinds of career for women to thrive in.
I currently work as a pharmacy technician.
I work as an administrative agent for a coordination of BGMF.
I am ABA therapist. It's applied behavior analysis. I work with children with autism, so we do interventions for them.
I work as a housekeeper.
Right now, I have 2 jobs, working with elderly and working at the office.
I'm a student. I'm taking up courses in accounting and a stay-at-home mom.
I actually work at a CLSC as a team leader.
I am the city councilor for the district of Darlington in the borough of Côte-des-Neiges-Notre-Dame-de-Grâce.
I am graduating from recreational therapy from Concordia University.
First generation's descendants start a humble life where you can find them in diverse neighborhoods of both Western and Southeast Montreal, such as Côte-des-Neiges and Notre-Dame-de-Grâce. Life in these neighborhoods are expected for newcomers, but some crave more. They instill specific traditions and systems in order to rid the hardships they experienced when they were younger.
To be honest with you, in the back of my mind, there's always gonna be that lingering feeling of what my parents would have wanted me to be. Growing up in a household where all the stereotypes of being Filipino, having to become a nurse or a doctor, a dentist, something in like that medical field is very challenging because on one point you do not want to disappoint my parents. And I'm constantly reminded of like what they have given me and how lucky I am to have this opportunity to grow up in an environment where I have a lot of chances, a lot of opportunities. So I'm very fortunate about that.
I've witnessed some of my friends who were not born here experience some sort of discrimination or shame. The ones who weren't born here specifically, a lot of the times they are treated differently by the Filipinos that are actually born here because they didn't exactly have the same upbringing that we did.
Moving in Canada, especially in Montreal, was very hard because of the language. I never spoke French, and it was hard to adapt to the French language because it is a main language here. But when you live here, you don't have a choice to learn.
It was hard and sad because you don't know the country. Another difficulty I had was learning French. I learned French when I came here 13 years ago. In terms of transition, it's mostly learning the language.
I don't regret it at all, but there were moments in my life where I thought that if I had just lived the normal childhood, then I wouldn't have some trauma in a way. There needs to be space for some healing in that sense.
For many Filipino women, they are challenged with holding a certain identity in their families because of the norms their past families have been used to.
When I'm in the Philippines, I work in an office. I work in the finance department, and in order for me to come here, I need to take the caregiver job. So I came here as a nanny, as a caregiver. Switching a different job to other jobs, it's very difficult.
They expect you to be a well-mannered woman. They expect you to behave the way others will respect you. Don't do things that make you indecent. You should behave well the way your parents raise you, because in the Philippines, they raise children to be well-mannered in all aspects. But sometimes, you're only human. You commit mistakes. But if you're willing to do good, that's good.
Yet, as times are changing, so are Filipino women. They oppose traditional and physical aspects of womanhood, creating a new barrier for Filipino and Southeast Asian women.
Being a first-generation Filipino Canadian in this role has been quite a privilege and an honor. I'm the first Filipina elected in the province of Quebec in any level of government, and it's something that I wear proudly everywhere I go. It has shaped who I am. Being Filipina and coming from a very strong Filipino family, it really puts you in a perspective of what your values are.
It's different now. It doesn't have to be how it was. Marriage is a covenant. It's a promise that you make and a pledge that you devote yourself to someone.
I came here with the whole family. So my mom came here first, 2005, and then after 5 years, she was able to brought us here as a whole family. What really helped me was all of us were here together. It would have been harder if my mom just brought us one by one. We were here as a whole together.
Weather-wise, I prefer going back there in the Philippines because it's warmer. But then when it comes to living and raising a family, I prefer here. The standard of living is you can find a job, whatever your age is. In the Philippines, after you graduate, they have age limits in the Philippines. When you're old, even if you graduate and you're good at stuff, they won't accept you. They will take younger generation.
There's no place for old people there. They will not give you work in the Philippines if you are like over 35. That's the sad reality in the Philippines. That's why most of the people there wants to come abroad to have a better job. What can I do there if I'm 40, 50, 60? No, they will not give me a job there anymore. I can't see myself going back to the Philippines because it's been a dream for me to be here in Canada, especially for my children.
I'd probably see life differently, where I would appreciate things more if I was born in the Philippines, because I feel like that I take things for granted since I'm born here and everything was basically given to me. And I also think that I'd be a little bit more rebellious. What I mean by that is just having the privilege of having a functional toilet, having the privilege to have the job that you want. I went back to the Philippines in 2019, and my dad's side in the family, they live a poor life. So their daily routine is they have a little store and they're just outside drinking every day. There's not much of a life, you know what I mean? They're still very happy, but that's why I think I'd be rebellious, because I'd probably fall into that type of lifestyle.
I would think that I would still be the same person because of the main elements of my life would still be the same. I would still have the same parents.
Despite these changes, there is still a large barrier that are not spoken about because of the expectations and internal struggles that many Filipinos hide, such as mental health, family crisis, childhood trauma, culture shock, the inability to live up to certain expectations, and the relationships they encounter throughout adulthood.
We don't like to talk about it in our family, but a lot of my older brothers struggles with substance abuse, alcohol, and drugs. I was young at that time when it was happening. We never spoke deeper about that. I wish we had, cause if we did, maybe some of my brothers would still be alive today.
To begin with, I didn't even want to do therapy because it was not something that was often talked about in my family, or even just, I think, with Filipinos. It's opening up, and feelings aren't really something that is easy to do. But I thought about it and I wanted more for myself than just to be this sad, lonesome person all the time. I didn't recognize who I was at some point, especially after COVID. I didn't want to celebrate my birthdays anymore. I shut myself out from so many people who cared because I wasn't happy with who I was.
I have a daughter. She's 9 years old right now and she has autism. So it is hard for me to find a stable job. If I'm not here anymore in this world, I would like to have her a happy life of her own. She can do even just the basic stuff, like what normal people do. What I'm thinking right now is everything for her, to give her a normal life when I'm not here anymore. Because it's hard to leave if she's not okay.
In childhood, you should be able to discover and experience. I feel like it's very freeing, and you're not bound to, let's say, like norms as an adult, or like what society expects from you. So then, because it was imposed on me to be a little bit more responsible as the eldest sister at a young age, I wish I could have experienced it, but I don't regret that I didn't.
I think they're just not able to adapt to the new lifestyle, to the new generation, especially coming here in Canada too, being surrounded with different cultures and variety. One example is the LGBTQ. They're not open about that, and it makes it harder for people to come out, coming from a Filipino background. They sort of have a model for women, that a woman and a man have to be together type of thing, but that's not reality since time. It's something that they're not able to wrap their head around.
And also gay marriage, for me, I don't know, because, well, I was brought up as a Catholic and everything was like a man and a woman, but I accept.
Talking about sexuality was not a thing. Talking about vices was not a thing. Any Filipino family knows that when you go to a party, the men are drinking on one side, the women are like either playing mahjong or doing their chismis. I would never comprehend or understand why the men got to sit around and make all the decisions and the women had to just be like, yeah, I'm okay with it.
I think at a young age there are expectations to obey and follow those beliefs. If you want to believe, let's say, in Jesus, it should come from your own desire and willingness, and it shouldn't be imposed in any way. Shared for sure, if others want to share about it. It is difficult to love when you live with someone and you see all their true colors come out. There's no hiding and no sugarcoating anything. That's where you're tested, I feel, to love well.
That's your way of living. Where there should be a boundary is when you start imposing that on another person.
Yet, Filipinos are a group of people that have proven countless times that anything is possible and that individual circumstances can only strengthen the outcome.
We'll see in the near future. I want to own my own house. I want to grow in my career. I feel like there's so many more opportunities that I can find with my career and not just stay at one spot until then.
I just want them to know that I'm okay. And although we haven't always seen eye to eye, I think I want them to know that they did a good job by showing them that I can be a good person, a good mother eventually, a good wife, just a good person overall.
I desire just to be stable, have a house, be eating every day. It's so simple, but that's what would give me the greatest joy.
Don't worry about the future, because yes, it's gonna happen, but don't forget to live or just be grateful for what you have at the moment. You'll never realize it's gonna be a yesterday. Your today will just be a yesterday.
I want you to live life for the best way you can.
Wherever you raise your kids, as long as you're grounded with your traits, with your character that you impose with your children, as long as they're grounded, that's the best.
I love you so much.
As long as they love their kids, they love their children, they give them everything, I think it's okay. The important thing is you love them and you nurture them to be a better person and what they become to be in the future.
I've always been someone that's open-minded about everything. I don't want people to feel like they're being judged or whatnot, so I've never gone through that battle with myself.
People shouldn't use it as a weapon, and that's not what God designed it to be in the first place. But because it is being represented by a person, then that's where it becomes distorted. I would say if you were to discover it for yourself and not have someone impose it on you or use it against you in any way, then I think you can see that it truly does bring life. There is room for healing, or anything that you seek, peace, love, and joy, it should be found there, because that's where I found it.
We come from a Filipino community that is Anglophone, living in a Francophone city. And yet we have generations that have not only survived but thrived, that have now anchors in the community. Some now generations are owning their own businesses. Some generations now are real professionals going into different industries, and we're not in the same box that we used to put ourselves in. We are stepping out of the stereotypes that were always given to us. And I think that that's something to be proud of our community.
After all, Filipinos are resilient in every way, and we are never too far away from home. You've been listening to Filipinas of Montreal, Family, Pasasalamat, and Resilience, created by me, Kimberly Nicole Sahagan. This piece is a part of Fixed Point's Arts and Media's audio storytelling training program, the Empathy Squad, made possible by Canada Service Corps. Special thanks to Christina Consolacion Sangir, Tamara Joyce Sangir, Ergie Marie Evan Cibito, Josephine Cruz Sangir, Rick Rose Payan Sabater Tapag, Myra Santos Villamayor, Charlene Ebio, Stephanie Valenzuela, and Clarissa May San Jose Geraldo Estrada, as well as our amazing and dedicated facilitators, Will, Meryl, and Charles.